Field G's. Welcome back to Luke G's Field Review. We are back at it. Obviously, we're not done talking about Teez Tabor and him being released, and it's huge news because this is one of those picks that was very questionable, sort of like how the Jelani Tavai pick was for Bob Quinn. So I'm going to try to put this in perspective, and I'm going to explore this from a different perspective. So first thing first, when Bob Quinn drafted Teez Tabor, it was my understanding that he was drafting him for who? Jim Caldwell's system. This is somebody that Jim Caldwell wanted, and Jim Caldwell made it clear, and Bob Quinn said, okay, I'll get the groceries since you're doing the cooking. All right, now, what got me to thinking about this is two things. One, Bob Quinn should be commended. I'm going to tell you why. In the past, Lions general managers will refuse to let a player go and keep them for the entire 4 years of their contract just to try to prove a point. Bob Quinn's not that guy. He has flat out said, hey, this guy is a mistake. He's a miss for me. It happens. I'm going to right this ship. Okay. And he does the smart thing and release him early. Now, I personally think that they should have moved Teez Tabor to safety and seeing how he performed there, but that's neither nor there. I believe he's a better safety than he is a cornerback. But it got me to thinking, who could we have had instead of Teez Tabor that year? So him being a second round pick from 2017, you can see him on NFL.com. I am looking at the draft results for that year. We're not even gonna worry about who was before our pick, because guess what? We couldn't pick them anyway. They were before us, and there was no way for us to pick them. So here's where I get irritated at, okay? I really wanted the Lions to take Joe Mixon in the first round. I was very confident in that he was going to be a legit running back. I know what the history was, but I was confident that was going to happen. Now, we took Teez Tabor. Here are all the people that we could have took after or before. We could have took Raekwon McClellan, who we may still be able to pick up because I'm hearing rumors that Miami wants to trade him or he could be released. We could have had that guy. We could have had Obi Malofawuni. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but you get my point. He was at West Virginia, I believe that was. And he's a big guy, 6'4", I believe he is, something like that. Plays safety. Could have had him. We could have had Zach Cunningham, a linebacker who was very good for the Houston Texans, and I think many people would go on the record to say he was pretty damn good. Josh Jones is another guy we could have had, and we still can get, because guess what? The Packers released him this year. So it's not just the Detroit Lions releasing their second round pick. The Packers have released their second round pick. So that's food for thought. But we could have had Juju Smith-Schuster. Let's take a moment to think about that for a minute, people. Over Teez Tabor, we could have had Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, I know that many of you are going to say, well, Luke, we already had this guy and we already had that guy. I get it. But just the food for thought, we could have had that guy. We could have had Taylor Moton. We could have had that. Let's go to the third round. I'm not going to go to all these rounds because once we get past a certain round, I can care less, okay? But I wanted to explore this. Who could we have taken? And I know that hindsight is 2020. I know this. I'm not oblivious to that fact. I'm more concerned about just being able to look at the possibilities. Like, if people had do-overs, they would. And to me, I want to explore those do-overs. Those do-overs give us a chance to see who we could have had that would have been better serviceable than what we got. So we'll go to the third round and we'll take a look at the third round pick. Now, Larry Ongunjobi, whatever. I mean, he's not bad, but he ain't great. But we could have had cornerback Witherspoon. Now, we know that he is somebody that is kind of a big cornerback, but we could have did it. We could have had Elvin Kamara. Now, I know some of y'all are looking and you're like, well, how come it has the Bears there? Well, I think what you're seeing is them putting it there for the picks and then explaining it the long way. I don't know what NFL.com is doing, but we know Alvin Kamara is not on the Bears. But we could have had him. We could have really had him. We could have had Cooper Kupp. Just food for thought. Just some food for thought. Who we could have had. We could have had D.N. Jordan Willis, somebody who has not lived up to his bill. He was a workout warrior, but he has not lived up to his bill. We could have had Duke Riley. Another guy who has not lived up to his bill, but could he have made plays for the Lions? Yes. Just looking at this thing, we could have had Tim Williams. Oh God, man, it's depressing when you look at the people we could have had, like Derek Rivers. I don't know how we didn't get this guy, but we could have had him. We could have had it. It was very much there for us to have. We could have had Kareem Hunt. Just food for thought. Could have had Shaq Griffin. Okay, decent guy. Listen, people, the truth is, and I know that in the third round we took Kenny Galladay, that this thing is all out of whack. I need to go and figure out if the filters is right, because some of these names are way out of place, and I have not changed the filters. No, that's pretty much what they're saying. So we know that the Patriots didn't take Kenny Galladay. We know this. So it's not even worth discussing that. However, and I think what it is that's the pick that the Lions had in that position, which was, it would have been a pick, but nonetheless, there were so many people in hindsight that we could have took. Like, we could have had C.J. Beathard. We could have did James Conner. There was options. We're going to do one more round just for the heck of it. We want to see how bad did Bob Quinn really miss, because there's some definitely notable names here, but there are not so many notable names that we should be panicked that we missed. And I think the point I'm trying to make is the Detroit Lions as a organization are starting to put it together. They're starting to understand that certain things is better to admit the wrong and move forward than anything else. So if we're going to judge Bob Quinn, we need to judge Green Bay, because they released their second round pick too. So if we're going to do that, let's do that. This will probably be the last round I do. D.D. Westbrook, not bad. Eddie Jackson. The Lions could have had Eddie Jackson over Teez Tabor. God, sometimes when you see it, it just gives you the depression just thinking about it. Tariq Cohen, in my opinion, no. Ben Gideon's all right. Carl Lawson, I'm just showing y'all that there was options that we could have had and they're not there. Now we know Jalen Reeves-Maybin was a Lions pick, so I don't know why that's there. Howard Wilson, we know that was a Colts pick. I don't know why the Denver Broncos is there. But we could have had those people. I'm just going down showing you. Just look at the names. Don't look at the teams who took them so much as the names. The names seem to be in order, but the other stuff, like Dietrich Weiss, I would have loved Dietrich Weiss at this point. Like, seriously, I would have been excited to have a Dietrich Weiss right now. Joshua Dobbs, Zach Banner, Ryan. Wouldn't that have been interesting if we took his little brother Ryan, or his older brother? I can't forget who was who. Overall, people, if you just look at the names, the Lions could have had some different prospects, obviously. And what this really goes to show is again, hindsight is 2020. This goes to show that the Detroit Lions are still in the right direction, because to admit that this is a mistake and that this pick is not one he's proud of, he moved on. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, Please remember to support all Detroit Sports Alliance members who are linked in my description. And remember, don't be no chump. Please do your research.